following is a special Focus presentation. And now, Focus's founder and executive producer, Archbishop Philip Hannon.
By the goodness of divine providence, mankind can discover by reason the existence of God. Further, God, by his infinite goodness, has revealed to us facts and knowledge of his existence and life by the inspiration given to his prophets, apostles, and disciples. This body of knowledge is called divine revelation and is authenticated and presented by the church in the Bible. In addition to divine revelation, there are other revelations made to individuals which are approved by the church as the apparitions at Lourdes and Fatima, so beloved by our Holy Father. There are other apparitions and revelations which are not officially approved by the church, as the apparitions that occurred in the early 60s in a backward, remote little village in northern Spain named Garabandal. We believe it is most important to state that Garabandal has its critics and its controversies, and that we at Focus offer no endorsement of the claimed apparitions, nor do we claim any official sanction of the church as to the messages given. The events at Garabandal have neither been approved nor condemned by the church as of the time of this production. We offer this program for the viewer to be informed and to discern.
The second half of the 20th century has produced the greatest array of visions, apparitions, and supernatural manifestations the world has ever seen. And many believe it is no longer possible for the world or the church to dismiss them as products of mass hysteria or overactive imaginations. Lost in this avalanche of apparitions is an event that occurred in the early 1960s. It was overshadowed at the time by other events that were capturing headlines: the impact of Vatican II and the Vietnam War. The messages didn't seem to fit and weren't what the world wanted to hear. But some feel it may be time to take another look at those apparitions. They occurred in a backward, remote village in northern Spain, Garabandal. The Virgin Mary allegedly appeared to 4 young girls and delivered important messages and prophecies. Much of the controversy over the events stemmed from 2 of those messages. The first contained harsh admonishments to the Roman Catholic Church. The second message spoke of tribulations, warnings, a coming chastisement, and a great miracle. The controversies surrounding these messages are no more resolved today than they were then. Bishop Antonio del Valgallo, who witnessed 3 of the apparitions as a young priest, had been appointed to serve on the diocesan commission set up to investigate these events. When he became a bishop of the local diocese, he then set up a new investigation in 1988.
I needed to do a personal investigation because the responsibility demands this of oneself. So I had to do something about it because I thought it was something serious that had happened in Garabandal. It seemed to me that because it was so serious, I had to find out for myself exactly what happened in Garabandal. The results were brought to the Holy See, to the Sacred Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith. That is where you have to take things like this. So that is where the documents are. They were given to Cardinal Ratzinger. The messages are theologically correct, yes, but one of the details bothers me, like the one that many bishops and cardinals are walking the path of perdition. It seems to me to be a bit severe. The messages do not say anything that is against the doctrine of the Church. The apparitions have never been condemned. The previous bishops did not admit that the apparitions were supernatural, but to condemn them, no. That word had never been used. For sure, I consider the messages important because they are important in the area where it is similar to Lourdes and Fatima. It is important for us Christians to live what the messages of the Blessed Mother are saying. If we consider that she could have said this, but I'm not saying that she did, since this would be admitting that the apparitions are true, and I cannot do that because the Church has not yet said so. The Church is the one that has the last word.
Other eyewitnesses like Maria Sirocco was so inspired by Garabandal that it changed the course of her life. She says today those messages are much more relevant and urgent given the current state of the world and the church.
All right, thanks for being with us, Maria. You have been really blessed with being able to experience a part of the Garabandal story. Take us back to that time when you were there and how you even got involved in all that.
Well, we have to go back a long time. Back in the early 60s, I heard about Garabandal, and I wrote to a priest living in France, Father Lafreniere, and he asked me to establish a Garabandal Center in my home. At the time, I was living in Massachusetts, and so I did. And in those days, you know, there was very little information printed about Garabandal, and what was coming in was in a foreign language. But Father was keeping me informed and sending me his letters. I'd get them translated. And then I got a letter saying that the Blessed Mother had appeared on January 1st, 1965, and that the Archangel Michael would deliver her final message on the following June 18th. And that was a turning point for me, because then I had a specific date when something had been foretold that was going to take place, and I wanted to be there.
But what drew you to this to begin with?
The message. The message to me was very concise, and it was very explicit in language that anybody could understand. The Blessed Mother said we have to make a lot of sacrifices. We have to do a lot of penance. We must make many visits to the Blessed Sacrament. But first of all, we must be very good. The chalice is filling up. And if we do not change, a very great chastisement would come upon all humanity. That message struck a chord with me, and it was if I couldn't get enough of information. I only knew that Our Lady appeared as Our Lady of Carmel. That's the way she appeared, and Michael the Archangel appeared. I knew that our Blessed Mother came at times with the baby Jesus. But actually, the information I had was very skimpy until I went there. And when I heard the final message, my life was never the same after that. I knew there was an awesome responsibility, and I had a lot more details. The major prophecies were much more understandable. We heard about the warning, the worldwide warning that was going to take place in the world, but I'm getting ahead of the story.
That's okay.